Yeah, if you'd asked me this a few years ago, I would said don't do it because it's going to kill your content. You're going to kill your traffic because up to a few years ago, when you introduced the paywall, you basically lost your Google traffic. That's not the case anymore. I was really humbled by an Australian client of mine actually who implemented a paywall, and I told them that's a bad idea, and they still went ahead and did it, and they didn't see any decrease in traffic at all. And I think that's because Google has gotten smarter about how it approaches paywalls, and it made a deliberate decision to rank paywalled content alongside public content, specifically so they don't get seen as trying to demonetize or punish paywalled news websites. Um, the only tricks are that you have to make sure that Google understands that you are paywalled content and that Google still has more or less access to the full article contents so that it understands what the article should rank for. And that's fairly easily accomplishable with either proper implementation of structured data. There is a specific structured data attribute called is accessible for free with a yes no tag, which you can assign to a specific CSS div that tells Google where the paywall kicks in. If, for example, you have like the first paragraph free and then the paywall kicks in, you can tell Google exactly that. That's where the paywall kicks in. You can also give the full article content in the structured data as article body, but leave it out of the visible web page for users, or make exceptions to Googlebot user agents so that when Googlebot crawls the page, it gets the full version, but when a user tries to access the page, they get the paywall. So there's multiple mechanisms in place there, and Google has a quite extensive documentation on what they want you to do and what the best approach for that is. If you have those things in place, there is really no obstacle for Google to rank your articles just as they did before the paywall. And in fact, you see quite a lot of paywalled content perform pretty well in top stories and even in Google Discover, but primarily in top stories